if you're doing something that's meaningful to you, that's going to give you rewards in the long run, and how you just experience the quality of your life and your art.
Like in my mind, I was thinking, what would be my favorite album of all time? You know, what would it be like? And that's what I was thinking about the whole time when we were doing it.
Hi, everybody. It's Dean, and it's a Prog chat here. We have some special guests, Eric and Caitlyn from Kingston. They are a duo of musicians of their own group. It's called Buck's Moonlight Revival. I have a lot of questions for you about how this all began. Maybe you just want to pick up with that.
Yeah. I guess it started like 4 years ago. I kind of lost my job, and I was trying to think of what to do and having an existential crisis, I guess. And I just remembered I always wanted to do music, and I was like, well, I should at least give it a shot, you know? So I just kind of went for it and bought all this stuff that's behind us, all this gear. And just somehow I came across analog tape and really liked it. And I think I was avoiding using my computer because it just barely worked. But yeah, and then over like a couple of years, 2.5 years, I think we worked on this album, and it took a really, really long time. Just I wanted to do all these very specific things, like we both love Dark Side of the Moon, and how that album flows all together. And there's the only stop is when you flip the vinyl. Things like that I wanted to do, which kind of required to figure out a lot of music theory to make like songs flow into each other. You have to have like the right keys, which really limited what kind of keys I could do the songs in. I did the instrumental stuff, and she came and did the vocals, right? So I kind of obsessed over the instrumentals for a really long time, and then she came in and worked out her lyrics to go along with it. And yeah, it was a lot of work. It was really stressful at times. Like there were certain times we had to take a break because I get so obsessed with it. And just go and draw for like a month. But it was a lot of work. You can maybe talk about the poems if you want.
Sure. So, hi everyone. I'm Caitlyn. So, a part of this album, the inspiration for it is it's like a homage to our musical ancestors who've passed before us. So, my grandfather immigrated from Scotland when he was a teenager, and he worked as a plasterer in a psychiatric hospital. And he was, working by day and a poet by night. And he published a book of poems called Weeds and Other Flowers in 1977. And they're beautiful poems about the Canadian wilderness. We were able to use the poems and create lyrics for this album. So it's very special to me because my grandfather, John Aloysius Kinsella, passed before I was born when my dad was 19. So being able to like use these beautiful lyrics has brought me kind of like closer to his spirit. And yeah, obviously it just is very meaningful to us.
Yeah. And we actually went back and forth a whole bunch of times if we were going to use them or not, because Caitlyn also kind of was like, I want to write some songs, you know. But I kind of just kept convincing her, like, I think, you know, that, yeah, obviously people like writing songs. Maybe that's what you want to do, but it'd be just a shame if we didn't use this. It just seemed like too good to be true. Like we got all these really good poems, and it would just add to the concept of the album if it was all about these poems, you know?
Yeah. At first it was like very abstract, like seeing like, you know, sitting stilly by a woodland pool. It's like, how am I supposed to sing that? But it's just like trial and error. Like you just kind of have to keep at it, and we made it work. Yeah.
I love this album so much. I did a review of it, of course, on progdog.ca. I came across one of your how-to videos. It was something to do with sort of the process of recording. And then, of course, that led me to go for further and discover your music. And I just put it on the entire album on repeat the entire night. I was just over and over again. I just fell in love with this album so much. And it's
Yeah.
interesting you say that it was so challenging for you, because it's very peace instilling as an album. It's very it just surprised me that you guys said it took so much effort.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot. It was honestly like, because we're making the second one right now. Yeah, it's the same deal. It's takes a really, for us. I mean, some bands can just go in a couple months and just record an album, right? But it's really different for us.
We're process oriented people. If you want to take it to a Myers-Briggs level, we are very interested in the process. And, we want to do it our way, as opposed to completing tasks and getting it done kind of thing. So
Interesting.
it has to be right.
Yeah.
Well, it's like with the first album, like I said, when we came up with the idea to do this, it was when I lost my job and I was just like, I don't know what to do with my life. I gotta at least like give music a shot. If it goes nowhere, it goes nowhere. But at least I had this album in my head I needed to get out, and I want to make it the best thing that we could do. Right. So that's why it took so long. It took a year. It was an extra year from when I first thought it was going to be done. It took another year. And I think this second album is kind of the same deal.
Yeah.
Like whenever I think it's like, oh, it should be done by this time. It's like, no, it's going to take another year, because the last thing I want to do, I would hate myself forever if we made an album and it was just okay. I would be so mad. It has to be like at the end, I have to be like, okay, this is perfect. So, and with that album, I'm not saying it's like whatever perfect. I'm not getting, we're humble and stuff. I'm just saying for us, we're really proud of what we did. And that was like during the making of it, I was trying to find music that was like, I was trying to find this album online basically to listen to, because I just wanted to hear this album. So by the end of it, I was like, okay, this is the album I've been looking for, and
Yeah.
obviously I'm not going to listen to it over and over again because we made it, but it's hard to listen to even, but,
Yeah, when you listen to it, you say it's hard to listen to. I think a lot of artists can relate to that, probably because you're more picky about it, or you remember the struggles or something.
Yeah. I remember I see every little detail that I'm like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like, just being hard on just, it's how we are.
But tell me, how is your album being received other than me? I mean, I love it. How about other people?
Honestly, it's been received really well. It was kind of just on Spotify being listened to by a very small number of people for probably a year and a half. I was focusing really on making YouTube videos and TikTok videos, all these things, because I like making videos, just like, you like making videos. So that's like the other thing that I love doing. I've been making YouTube videos since, it first became a thing, right? When I was like a teenager, just for fun. So I kind of knew early on, I'm like, I think if I just make enough videos, something's going to click, and then people are going to find it through the videos, as opposed to just, well, let's just go play a million shows and maybe someone will pay attention. So after about like a year of doing that, I think I made 100 videos, and then one took off on TikTok, and it got like 500,000 hits, and everybody just went to our album because I kind of strategically had our music in it, right? And then the video did really well just because it was entertaining, and then everyone went to our music, and then they bought our merch, and it kind of, then it told Spotify, hey, people are listening to this music. And then now to this day, we have a consistent following on Spotify. And even, this is crazy, even a couple days ago, just happened, people, because it originally went viral on TikTok, people take our music and they put it in their videos. And a couple days ago, somebody did that, and it got millions of views. And then again, our Spotify shot up, and everyone bought our merch from somebody else doing it, So we actually have gotten really lucky and had a lot of people find our music, and the response that we've gotten has been like what you're saying. Like, I think somebody commented on one of our videos like yesterday, saying, I can't believe I found your album through that stupid TikTok video. It's like, and it turned out to be one of my favorite albums of all time.
Wow.
Like,
No disrespect to
the original video. I don't
Yeah.
know what I watched it. I don't really understand what it was. It was just something about a shake. I don't know.
but it's kind of hilarious too, because in our hometown, we have to like cordially invite everyone to our gigs or no one will show up. So we're also kind of letting go of that. Like, we don't need to be playing live shows all over the place in our hometown and, getting like a fan base in Kingston, because we just realized like it's going to be a niche of random people who experience it all over the world.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing. So anybody who
Yeah.
connects with it, they'll find it through the process of globalization. So I'm not so worried about, like when I thought about being a musician or whatever, like you think about, oh, I need to have a band and then play at a certain bar, like every Wednesday night, be like the house band. That's how you make a living. And
have a big list of all your shows, and that shows that you're a successful band,
Yeah, we kind of have, we're just realizing that that's not really the way it's going to be for us, and what a relief.
Yeah. I mean, those, we like playing shows, and they're going to keep coming. But what we've really realized actually just recently is the video stuff is, like I said, that's where all of our listeners have come from, the internet. And I love making videos, and I want to keep doing it. And to be honest, we haven't had it's really hard to balance making music, playing live shows, and making a YouTube channel. That's really hard. Most bands, they just make music, they play live shows, and that's a lot of work, So what we've realized is we got to really prioritize. I've been trying to just bounce back and forth. And the thing is, I'm always like neglecting something, So recently I've been neglecting videos because we got all these shows we've been playing. And we just kind of realized we got to really just focus primarily on making the music and making our YouTube channel. And we'll play shows, sprinkle some shows in there. But yeah, you just can't do all of it. I mean, maybe you can if you had a team to help you, but we're not there yet,
Yeah.
So,
we still have a day job.
Yeah, we got a day
cleaning
job,
business that we run by day.
Yeah. So
And I didn't mention it in the beginning of this chat either. Of course, you're over in Kingston, in Ontario. Where you are, your house. I mean, in your album, for example, let me think if it has it. There's, the photographs of your living room.
Oh yeah,
and
right behind
all
us.
the equipment spread around, and certainly I can relate to that as a musician. But your home, where you are, your geography, kind of, you can feel it. You do ambient recording outdoors. You did some of the album outdoors.
Oh, yeah.
You want to tell us a little about that?
Yeah, because we recorded this it was from 2019 to 2021. I can kind of remember the timeline of all this. The sounds you hear at the very beginning, the crickets, I think that was like summer 2019. Summer 2019. Sorry. I think that was like the very earliest recordings, and the latest recordings were like, the spring 2021. So it took, the recording process was over a long period of time too, not just like writing and then recording it all. That was just in our backyard. I just had an audio recorder, and then I did some effects to it. And I like the idea of having the nature sounds, but being also very lo-fi recordings of the nature in the background. And one of the recordings in the song Viejo, the reason why that song is called Viejo, I might as well just say, it's not that's a big of a secret. It's a town called Puerto Viejo in Costa Rica. We stayed there for 3 months years ago, like 5 years ago, and I recorded a sound in the nighttime of all the crickets, and you could in the actual recording you can hear like the water and stuff. And I put that recording into the song, and we called it Viejo just because it kind of reminded us something about that song, like we reminded us of Costa Rica. It adds nature to it, which works with the music,
I've heard that a lot of people connect to like the natural sounds and the field recording side of our music too. Mm-hmm. And I think like right now in our society, like we are very disconnected from nature, and especially like post pandemic, everyone is kind of, more screen oriented and, doing their own thing at home, connected to their screens. And I think like it's great to kind of diverge from that and just say, okay, well, maybe we all need to get outside. Like, just like listen to some sounds.
Yeah. Are you guys do you guys hike a lot together, or do you go camping?
I wouldn't say a lot, but we like to hike. Yeah.
It's more like we just lie on a picnic blanket in the backyard.
We got a big backyard. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's a picture of it in our album art somewhere, but
yeah. I like to swim in lakes. That's one of my favorite things on the earth, lake swimming.
Yeah.
There's lots of lakes in Ontario, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned you have a new album you're working on already?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've been working on it for a long time, kind of like the first one. It takes a long time. We have a goal for when it's going to come out. We're trying to get it done this year. That's all I'll say.
Sure, that's fine.
The problem is whenever I like say deadlines and stuff, it just never happens. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Somebody in the UK actually bought our vinyl last year, who has a record label, and he asked us if we're interested to put it out under his label. So it looks like we're probably going to do that. It's like that's really cool that someone's interested in supporting us like that.
Mm-hmm. Like a dream come true. Like never would have believed that, we would have been contacted, especially so soon after our first album. So we're just kind of just taking it one day at a time. And
I guess
being
that goes
very grateful.
Yeah.
I guess that goes into your question about the feedback we've gotten. It really is like ever since it blew up, ever since we went from having like under 100 listeners a month to like thousands, has been crazy the messages we get from people. It's funny because like when we were making it, I was specifically always thinking, I want this to be really, really, really good. Like I want people to listen to it and be like, oh, this is great. Like in my mind, I was thinking, what would be my favorite album of all time? What would it be like? And that's what I was thinking about the whole time when we were doing it. And it's crazy when people say this is my favorite album I've ever heard. It's like it's hard to believe hearing someone say that, It's like, whoa, that's pretty crazy. Like, I don't know. We're humble people. So it's
makes you feel, I don't know if you heard of imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
We definitely struggle with that a little bit. We're just like, oh,
yeah.
Moi?
Right.
Muskrats swam and worker bees and butterflies came on the breeze.
You've got a good flow going. You've got a good sense of your identity as musicians, as artists or whatever. So
yeah, it's just chipping away. That's what it feels like because it's such a big process and it's a little daunting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But we're having a lot of fun with it too. Like we just came back from a weekend in Ottawa and Montreal. And played a couple gigs and it was just amazing, like to connect with people after the show and just to share our music. So it's it's just been a wonderful process, really.
I'm very resistant to showing anybody any music or anything. The first album, I don't think we really showed anybody any of it until like it got released. And people were asking the entire time. It was like 2.5 years, right?
They thought we were just like lying.
Yeah.
Right. They're like, what the heck are you doing?
Yeah. But I really like, I held out and even Caitlyn a bunch of times said, Eric, come on, let's just show some people. So I'm like, nah, I want them to hear the whole thing as a whole, Yeah. I don't want them to be ruined by one little song or something. I don't know. But the same, I don't know, this album, I think this one is going to be really good. It's different, going in a different direction, but it's at the same time, it's the kind of album we would make. It's got some different themes, different sort of overall concept to it. I'm taking it my part with the nature sounds and stuff. I'm trying to take it to a whole nother level. That's all I'll say. There's going to be a little more of depth into that.
Mhm.
you know?
So tell me just a little bit when we talk about process, for example, your first
Yeah.
album, that's one of the things I really love about it, the way it flows. You know, you mentioned Dark Side of the Moon sort of being an inspiration for you in sort of
Oh, yeah.
that kind of, in sort of that way that it's not a collection of singles. It's like, it's got a
Yeah.
whole vibe to it. How hard is it to do that with the equipment that you're using? You're using an 8-track machine, is that right? A cassette based or?
Yeah. Yeah. The first album was done on a Tascam 488. So um, it's around the corner, but it's, it's just a Porta Studio, but it does 8 tracks. Usually the Porta Studios do 4 tracks, right? But this one, I think it's 1990. It's a really nice machine, and it sounds nice and lo-fi, but it sounds good for lo-fi, which I think is a good middle ground. The reason why I got into that stuff was because there's something about recording on those things that is easier for me than computer. I can record on a computer. I know how to do it, but there's just something about, like, it's too big. There's too many things you can do. You can have 1,000 tracks. I don't know. There's something about that I've never been good at.
I think you're very tactile too.
Yeah.
Like you're better kinesthetically
Yeah.
creating things with your hands. So that's probably why too.
Yeah. I just got obsessed with those, and I bought a whole bunch, and there's a whole bunch behind us. The one that's right next to my head right now, that's the one that we're probably doing this second album on. It's a Fostex A8.
Yeah.
So it's an 8-track, and just uses 1/4-inch tape. I don't know. There's something about it that I find way easier. And I just like the sound. I don't care that it's, people talk about what sounds better, digital, vinyl, reel to reel tape, whatever. It's like, that's not even like the point with me. I collect vinyl and stuff too, like, cause I just like it, but it's just about like what kind of sound you like. Like,
Yeah.
I have around the corner there, I have a little cassette deck that, like a handheld Walkman that, just yesterday I was listening to albums on Bruce Springsteen and stuff. And it doesn't technically it sounds way worse than Spotify, but there's just something about it that I like. It's just, I don't know I couldn't even tell you what it is, It's just a preference. That's all it is. But the process of making the album, I know I'm keep rambling off on the other things, but the process of making it and all that, I guess it'd be hard for a lot of people, but for me, being limited to just like, okay, we got these many tracks. I don't know. It was just easy. And then at the end, when we recorded all the songs, all just on separate little tapes, then I take all of it and I just individually bounce each track onto the computer. This is where I actually like using the computer. So then when we mix the whole album, we have like a digital audio workstation or DAW. This is probably different than a lot of people do. I don't make a separate project file for each song. I have one project file for the entire album. So it's this massive project file with all the tracks of the entire album. And then I arrange it all as one big song because it was all about just the entire album as one big thing, right?
So you kind of overlapped and cross-faded songs kind of
Yeah.
thing? You didn't add any extra little sections that was sort of like, like a piece of tape between songs or something? It was always just the songs folding into each other?
Yeah, it's kind of like I just take everything, and it took months and months and months. I took a really long time to mix it because I wanted to do it right, and I didn't know what I was doing the whole time. Oh, something happened to my camera. One sec.
There we go.
I think it just turned off. I'm using my DSLR, so I don't know. But yeah, on the computer, we just line everything up, and that's really fun. That's where I like using the computer. I like being able to see it and just kind of move it all around. But I don't know what it is, but like doing an individual song, I prefer just on the tape, and then you just listen to it and rewind it. And I guess it's just a bit of it's just like nerding out on old gear and stuff too, Yeah.
So I wanted to ask also, Caitlyn, a little about your singing. Also on the new album, are you going to be writing? I mean, you don't have to give away any secrets or whatever, but are you doing more songwriting on the new album, like lyrics and stuff?
Am I allowed to give this away?
I think you can. I think you can just say what we're doing.
So, luckily, we have a plethora of material to work with from my grandfather's writings. So to kind of like keep on theme with our first album, we're going to continue to use his poems. And part of that is also because it was like his dream for a singer, songwriter, or some musician to like take his poems and bring them to life. That was kind of like his ultimate dream. He would send them off to like people in Hollywood or whatever and get musicians to come use his stuff. So for me, it felt like instead of like trying to write, I'm going to, honor the poems and the process, and I'm going to actually focus on the technical side. I've been taking like a vocal course called 30 Day Singer online, and just kind of working a lot, like trying to figure out how to become more technically proficient. So so that's kind of been my process.
Yeah. So we feel like at this point, if we stopped using the poems, it wouldn't be right. It's almost like it's part of what Buck's Moonlight Revival should be about,
Yeah. And like when we first met 7 years ago, we made a little demo project called Island Sirens. What's it called? Maximum Ambience.
Maximum Ambience.
Yeah. So I wrote the lyrics for that album. So that was really fun.
Yeah. So she's done it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel right now I'm not feeling like I need to be songwriting. So, but as I said, it's like a blessing because then I can just focus on singing, which is like enough to do kind of.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
So you have been doing some live shows. You mentioned you were in Ottawa area, and that I guess on your website it mentions you're going to be in Hamilton in the upcoming weeks or months, in Guelph and all that. Yeah.
We actually last year we went to Europe because again through our videos somebody just found us and liked our stuff and invited us to go to this festival in Ireland called Electric Picnic.
Oh, cool.
And he just said, hey, if you can come to Ireland, I can get you on here, So we said, oh, okay, sweet. I didn't even think about it. I just said, yes, we're coming, This is a long way out.
Yeah.
And so we ended up going there, did 2 shows in Ireland. We went to Iceland and played a show. We went to Estonia, played 2 shows for their Fringe Fest. So that's the craziest stuff I guess we've done. So.
Yeah. And hopefully all of this working together, you're a couple, obviously.
Yeah.
So you're working together, but you're also living together and doing life together. And how is that going for you?
How's our relationship going?
Yeah.
We make an effort to learn a lot about like communication skills, and we're both interested in like the personal development side of life, I would say. So a lot of this, like, it's not just the music. We also run a cleaning business together by day. So it's a lot of honesty, direct communication, eliminating passive aggressive philosophies, not letting things fester. And just like trying our best to be honest in each moment. And sometimes that means I'm going to go do my own thing now.
Yeah.
See ya later.
Yeah. I think we've, since the beginning of COVID, that was kind of when we were first together all the time. And then that's when we started our business together. And then obviously the music, we really ramped up to finish the album. So we've kind of been doing it since, the last 3 years we've been doing everything together. So it was actually hard at the beginning. But you just figure out, you have to communicate every little thing that you're not happy with, or, hey, you're doing this thing and it's kind of annoying me, and you have to be able to
time for ourselves.
Yeah.
I think
time for yourself.
That's an important part too. Like we have like this beautiful life together, but I'm also my own person. Eric's his own person. Yeah. We have our own things that we pursue.
And with the music too, we do most of it separate.
Yeah.
Like I'm making the videos mostly by myself, and I'll ask Caitlyn to come do something in it, and then even with making the album, like I'm just by myself making the instrumental stuff. And then at a certain point, I'll be like, hey, we should figure out how you're going to sing on this song. We do spend a lot of time apart, even though it's all together,
Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful. I've interviewed 2 other couples One is called Dar Sombra, and they're
Yeah.
from the Midwest states, I think. Another couple is the Dream. They're called Dream Machine, or is it the Dream Machine?
Yeah.
No,
I
Dream
listened to
Machine.
that one.
Yeah, and they're also a couple. So you're the third couple now, and I didn't really plan to zoom in on that, but it is kind of
Yeah.
cool. I guess you have a good foundation of friendship
Yeah.
together.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That's great. So we've got 2.5 minutes left because I'm on the free Zoom. It won't let
Yeah.
you record more than 40 minutes. So is there anything else you wanted to mention as we wrap up this wonderful interview? Sure.
I was thinking about this today. We got 2 minutes. I'll try to do it really quick.
Okay.
I think there's a whole thing today. I'm gonna try to really condense this rant. There's a whole thing today with music where people really just want to make money on music, and they really just expect that you should just be able to make money. It's like I'm a musician. Everybody else, you can apply for all these other jobs and make a living. I'm a musician. This is what I want to do. I should just make money on music. And people hate Spotify because 95% of people on Spotify make no money. But YouTube's the same thing. Almost nobody on YouTube makes any money. It's like the reason why it is that way isn't that everything's rigged to screw all the little guys over. It's that it's so much work to actually get people to pay attention to your, like on YouTube, if you make a really good video, it'll promote that video. Spotify, you can make an album that you feel is really good, but in order to get people to actually pay attention, you have to like promote it in a very creative way, which for us was just go really hard on making videos. But I think that's like advice just from us. We've had a little bit of success with that. So you just got to work really, really hard. And most people don't want to do that. And that's okay if if all they want to do is just make music and play shows they don't care where they go with it. It's not even about making money. It's not about that. It's just, if you want people to listen, you got to work really, really hard. And that's just, there's really no shortcuts,
Yeah. And like do it for you, not for anyone else. Don't sing somebody else's song if you don't want to,
Or if you want to.
Or if it is a business to you, then make it into a business.
Whatever you want.
But if it's not, then just do what you want to do with it.
Yeah.
And don't worry so much about the commercial side of it. Because that is like fleeting, I think.
Yeah.
Like if you're doing something that's meaningful to you, that's gonna give you rewards in the long run, like and how you just experience the quality of your life and your art. So that's
wonderful.
what I'm feeling.
So that's it. Thanks everybody for watching. We got cut off there, but yeah, as you can see, it was absolutely perfect. We got all the sharing we needed to get in before the Zoom expired. Thanks again to Caitlyn and Eric for sharing their time and telling us all about their album and what they're working on in the future. And of course, the links to their website are below, as well as the YouTube link and the other links as well. I'll put all down there in the description box below. So that's it. Thanks for joining us. Spiraling Out. It's Dean. Talk to you later. Bye now.